Welcome to On the Edge with April Mahoney Brains. Here, this is the spot where the conversation is pointed, the guests are sharp, and the responses are never dull. Welcome home, Brains. There's only one requirement to hang out on the edge, is that you open your big brain and close your small mind. Did you bring your thinking caps? It's time to put them on, because the conversation starts now. Welcome to On the Edge with April Mahoney Brains. This is the spot where the conversations are pointed, the guests are sharp, and the responses are never dull. We're going to a new place today, Brains. We're going to Austria. Never been to Austria. We're usually in Australia, but Austria is a very different place. So our guest, Martina Thalhammer, is going to tell us a little bit about the work that she does as a hypnotherapist. Now, she can put a lot of you under the spell and take you down, give you suggestions. Can't change who you are, can't make you bark like a dog, can't make you quack like a duck, but instill some great NLP and other modalities that can help you with sleep deprivation. Sleep is so important, Brains, and I have to work on that because I noticed that it made me gain weight. It makes you anxiety. But sometimes people have like things like sleep apnea where they can't even get into that deep realm sleep. So, on a superficial level, we're going to talk about that and some alternatives. Let's welcome her to the show. How are you, Martina?
I'm very well, thank you.
Well, you look like you're getting plenty of rest. Your skin is glowing, your eyes are bright. That's beautiful.
It's good lighting.
So, tell my brains a little bit about you and how you show up in the world.
Well, okay, so I think I was always quite interested in the human psyche. So when I was little, I used to be quite a watcher. I used to people watch. I was fascinated by human interactions.
Hmm.
So I studied a little bit of communication and project management, and then went into I was a funeral professional for 12 years.
Wait a minute,
And
well, I can't even say a funeral professional.
yeah,
What is that?
so I used to plan funerals. I used to plan the whole ceremonies, and I used to be an embalmer for 10 years.
Wow. Now wait, during that embalming, no, because people have told me this. I know people that own mortuaries. They say that really the dead's energy speaks to you. Did you
That's
find that
true,
at all?
yes. It is true, yeah. It is true.
Wow.
I used to, especially when I used to work in places that used to be a funeral director for a long time, there was a lot of energy, so you could literally feel it.
Yeah, but you know what? I asked him, I said, now really, is it the spirits or is it the embalming fluid?
A little bit of both, I suppose. It preserves you quite well, so that's
Exactly.
okay.
But people are afraid of the dead. And what I say is you really should be afraid of the living.
That used to be my saying, yes. So the dead are nice and they're quiet, and they don't answer back. So it is a very pleasant job to have if you
Mm.
can handle if you can handle the usual things that are accompanied by death. But the rest is really, really cool. So I
Right.
really
Well, you know
enjoyed
what?
that.
Me personally, I don't think death is the end. I think it is a transition. So, Martina, death is not the end because you can have a death like experience during a hypnotic trance and hypnotherapy. Tell us a little bit about how those two merged together and how you found fascination in hypnotherapy.
Well, basically, I got into dealing with bereaved people. So I was grief counseling, and I sort of got a little bit into insomnia myself because I was quite stressed. I was working a lot. I had my own business. I had my little daughter, and I got really stressed. I got a bit flustered, and I started having sleep problems.
Mm.
And that got me onto sort of like looking for alternatives to sort of deal with it, because I don't like medication. I think
Right.
the whole world is too heavily medicated. I think especially Americans get
Really?
given
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
get given a hell of a lot of medication, which I find really bad.
But what
So
happens is they give you something to put you to sleep, but then you got to stay up. You got to have something to get up. So it's a double-edged sword.
exactly, and I was always been very petrified of that, and I sort of my family's a bit alternative, sort of homeopathic, sort of along those lines. So I was like researching and looking for alternatives, and I got into along the lines of mental training. You know, I was looking for different sort of routes, and I found breath work, I found mental training, and I also sort of stumbled across hypnosis because I was really desperate. I was really trying to, you know, get my own life back on track, and I kind of got hooked on doing trainings and getting more and more into, you know, into the whole sort of alternative route of medicine. It was very fascinating, you know, how, you know, you can basically control your whole being, your body, soul, and mind through controlling, you know, your mind functions, through controlling your whole life basically.
Yeah, your
So
breath.
it got it
Like
got
you said,
it
the breath is the
exactly.
it's the
So
new.
I was doing a little bit of everything, and then I sort of found a way to get myself out of the insomnia. I got myself completely well again, and that made me sort of think, okay, you know, you like helping people, you got some kind of skill, you've done all the legwork, so why not go out there and do that as a profession, you know, because the funeral industry was nice, but it was very hard work, and I just needed a bit of a
But it's
change. So I
steady
did.
work.
It's very true, yes. But you know, then COVID came along. I mean, I did all my training before COVID. I was working with people sort of locally, but then COVID came, and I sort of had to look outside the box. So I had to start, you know, finding clients worldwide. So I decided to work with Zoom, and I figured out that there is a lot of people that have sleep problems, you know,
Ah,
especially America, Australia, I mean, Europe as well, but a lot of my, you know, people I work with are from America. And especially in America, especially in Australia, there is one solution for sleep problem, and is there you go, there's your tablet, swallow that and you'll be fine.
mhm.
And that is 99% is not a solution. And a lot of people are getting sicker, they're desperate, where actually there is a different way, there is a different route, which is healthier, safer, and it lasts. Because the medication, you know, you take a pill and then you have to up it again because your body is smart. Your body gets used to medication. So you have to up your dose or you have to mix and match. And it is so
Or
incredibly
you,
bad
yeah,
for
or
your,
you overdo it and you
yeah,
take a little sleep pill and then you have a little
exactly.
cocktail and then there becomes an addiction and one
Yeah.
thing is left to another, changes your personality, you know. Oh,
Mental health,
exactly. So
all the
now
mental health.
give us some suggestions when you have sleep deprivation.
So
And tell me,
see,
what is that called? Because it's different for everybody. For me, example, I nap, which is probably not
mhm,
the best for my body. What I'll do is I'll get up and I'll be up, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning because I'm
mhm.
dealing with an international audience. Then I'll go and I'll have a 3 hour nap. Then I'll get up and work. Then I'll have another 3 hour nap. It really messes up your circadian rhythm. And
Yeah,
during that
right.
circadian rhythm is when the body restores and repairs itself. That's when you
That's
do the
right.
elimination and all these kind of things. So when a person is chopping up their sleep, number one, it's probably not the best. But how do we discipline ourselves to get a good 6 to 8 hours?
Well, the thing is, you have to rule out sort of the usual subjects. That's what I always say to people first. You know, how is your diet? How much caffeine do you take? How, you know, the sort of things that kind of make sense, but a lot of people don't think about it in a certain way. There's certain foods that, you know, that can influence your body's reaction to melatonin. There is stress. If you have a certain stress level, and some people are so used to stress nowadays, they don't notice anymore that they are in sort of constant stress. Stress continuously affects your cortisol level. If you have a raised cortisol level, yeah, you might fall asleep at some point, but your brain is not capable of actually recuperating, because what if your cortisol level is at a certain height, your brain cannot get that sort of recovery. So you wait, that's when you sort of wake up in the morning and you're completely drained, although you have had like 4 or 5 hours. That's what a lot of people don't notice. As well as with, you know, if you do take sort of like little bits of sleep aid as well, they also sort of basically just chemically get yourself to sleep. But you sort of the natural sleep, yeah, is something that should be happening in your body in a certain sort of natural way. And the thing is, people don't realize that a lot of sleep problems that aren't caused by, you know, caffeine or medication or some kind of illness are actually, it's a problem with your mind.
Mm.
So the
Can't turn
way
it
I
off.
work,
Can't shut it off.
exactly. But the way I work with people, I don't sort of I used to use, you know, traditional hypnosis where I go, you know, lay down and I'm gonna tell you some suggestions. But the way I work, I use conversational hypnosis mainly, which is just, you know, you just sit there and you just chat to people. But what you do, you have a certain skill set of questions. So you ask these questions to people, and these questions will either overload the brain or they will get them to places in their mind that they haven't been to. So they will spontaneously go into trance
Mm.
and look for the problem. Because a lot of times, a sleep problem is a symptom. It's not the actual problem.
I
Because
get.
not being able to sleep is not being able to sleep, you understand, is not a disease. It's a symptom. It's like you have a cough, you take a cough syrup, but if there's something wrong with your lungs, you can take as much cough syrup as you like. If you don't get to the bottom of it, you're not going to get rid of it.
Mm.
So what I do is I get people to go into their subconscious through the questions and go looking. And that can be literally anything. I have had root causes of sleep problems, you would not believe it. Things that were 15, 16 years back in their life, you know, a situation where their subconscious needed to be alert so they wouldn't sleep. But that pattern was imprinted.
Mm.
And because your subconscious is always trying to protect you, there could be a tiny, teeny little trigger in your life as life goes on that will trigger that pattern, and you're in full blown insomnia and you have no idea where it comes from.
Wow.
So if you don't go looking for that root cause of what you call the kindling event, you can take tablets as many as you want, or you can do sleep routines, or you can drink teas, or you can, you know, take CBD or whatever you want. If you're not actually rewriting that pattern in your subconscious, you will always fall back into that.
Mm.
Because your subconscious is much smarter than anything. Your subconscious is your engine, and there's all your patterns. Without it, we would be a blibbering mess. We would be vegetables, you know, jiggling around, because everything in there is stored to protect us. But the problem is the subconscious doesn't know what is good and what is bad.
Right.
So actually, it's only trying to protect you. Like,
When you bring things to the frontal lobe, that is the decision making. That is where
exactly.
you know right from left and good from
Yeah.
bad,
Yeah.
joy from pain. So it has to come forth. And, you know, in the subconscious mind, there are other individuals that we haven't met, other characteristics of ourselves that we haven't met.
That's
Uh,
right.
so it's not just suppressing or blocking out trauma or pain or anxiety, but it's also,
Mm,
like you say, it's a storage container. So that is really,
exactly.
really great. So, what do you do, Martina, to keep yourself a clear, clean conduit? You're doing some heavy lifting. You're dealing with a lot of people's issues.
Mm.
You are trying to figure out the best course of action and the most appropriate questions to ask them. But also, you're dealing with the person that has resurfaced, because after they've done this work, they're a new person, they're a new being, and they have to
That's
rest.
right. That's right. And some people do truly change. Like I've had clients which was unbelievable. They have had stopped having sleep problems, but they have literally changed around their entire life. You know, they've changed their careers, they've changed their partners, their living situation, everything, because if one pattern, there's a lot of patterns inside of us that are connected. So if you break one knot loose, it's a little bit like an avalanche effect, most likely in the most positive way. But a lot of people sort of then start to unravel other problems that are connected to the sleeping. But as you said, it's, I tend to, this type of hypnosis is always also a little bit cathartic for yourself, because you're asking the question, but it's a dialogue with the client. So you're always trancing out a little bit as well, which is very interesting, because it always sort of like unravels a little bit inside yourself. And I believe if you want to be a good therapist, you need to clean up yourself constantly as well. So, we all have issues. We all have things that, that trouble us, that we're not happy with. So what I tend to do is I use a lot of self-therapy. I do a lot of resilience building. I do a lot of havening, which is sensory somatic. I don't know if you know havening,
No,
but it's
so maybe.
it's havening is because I work via Zoom, it's very sort of like screen based. It's communication, but it's very screen based. And it's for me really important to get people to connect their body with their mind, because some people, like, they have a block right here where they're so conscious they can't feel their body's reactions to trauma or to things that have caused the sleep issues. So I try to do havening while people are talking, and havening is sensory somatic, so it creates certain brain waves. So it's the havening touch. So you do these movements. They're very good for you. They're very, very good for stress.
Okay.
Or if you're preparing for an interview and you want to be the best that you can, you could say, like, I'm going to be fantastic today. I'm going to do really well.
So yeah, I
And
get.
I am completely aligned. And these three movements basically create delta waves in your brain, and they can unlock trauma. They can get people to open up about their emotions, because I need people to go in there to find the problem, and then their subconscious would come up with either a solution or a resource, because I cannot fix people. I can show them how to fix themselves. And this is why it's a little bit like magic, because I just sort of go like, there you go. This is how to
I
do
love
it.
that.
And they'll,
When I did this and I embraced it, came down my arms, came down my face, I felt a sense of safety. I felt
yes, this is what havening is.
I felt a sense
Mhm.
of supporting myself. So that was a great
Yes.
exercise. I love that.
You've basically created delta waves.
Right.
You've
So
created deep healing waves in your brain.
for those of you that are listening to this audibly, what you want to do is you want to open up the palms of your hands and you want to rub them together, up and down, and create an energy. And then take that and rub it down your arms, cross your arms, and rub that energy down the sides of your arms. Take that same energy and run down the course of your face. Do it a couple times so that you can have the delta waves that come through the body. So thank you so
Mm,
much for that. That was a cool exercise. I'm into tapping. So I do tapping. So,
mm, mm.
it's touching those
Yeah.
areas, touching those
Mm,
nerves, connecting with that center. At first, I thought tapping
yeah.
was kind of strange. My husband saw me do it. He goes, "Baby, are you itching?" And I was like, "No." But it's sensory therapy, and I like the fact that you have a process that you're doing it for yourself. A lot of times, you have
Yeah.
facilitators, hypnotherapists that don't check in with themselves, and you're
Oh,
taking
it's so
on
important.
yeah, you're taking on all this energy and all of this life force from everything around you. You become
Mm,
so empathic in a way too, because now you have a heightened sense of
mm,
awareness. And so moving forward,
mm.
I mean, I think that was absolutely fascinating. So I want to ask you some fun questions. How about that, Martina?
Okay.
All right. If you could time travel, where would you land? Past, present, future? What era would you land in?
Um, I think sort of like Baroque or somewhere where they had like really strange, heavy clothes. I'd like to sort of feel that and walk around where there's just horse-drawn carts or something. I think I would like to sort of, have a day in each era. That would be quite incredible.
That
Sort
would
of Egypt,
yeah,
you know, a little bit of everything. That would be really interesting.
that would be fascinating. I want to be in the future.
Really?
Yeah, like 3,000, girl. I want to, see what they eat and what kind of skincare, how they make love. Do they just rub each other's eyebrows? Yeah, I want to be in the future. I definitely want to be. If you were a car, what kind
Oh,
of car would you be?
a Chevy hearse. I don't know why. I had a really good friend that I met by chance, and it was just by chance that I was an undertaker, but she was like we just met, and she was like, oh, you know what, I bought this car that I really like. It was a metallic green Chevy hearse,
Oh
and
God.
she shipped it over from America, and she couldn't drive it because she couldn't afford the petrol, but it was the most pristine thing, and it
Oh
was
my
huge, and you could fit so much shopping in it.
God. That's pretty
It
funny.
was very fun.
That's pretty
It
funny.
was very fun, yeah.
If you were an appliance in the kitchen, what appliance would you be?
Oh my God. I think a waffle toaster or something. I like that
Really?
sort of smell. I don't know why. It's just that's a very strange
I
question.
know. Well, I want to be the refrigerator because I just want to chill.
Okay, that's cool.
That works for me. So,
Oh, mhm.
you have a daughter? You have
I
a daughter?
have a daughter, yeah.
You have a daughter? What are you pouring into her as a mother? Um, just about, you know, just about life. What kind of things are you sharing with her to help her live her best life?
Oh, well, I'm actually very specific about that.
Oh, okay.
Um, I think it just not sounding weird, but I'm not a kids person. Like I'm not that sort of like, cootie coo type
Right,
person. Like
right.
I've always talked to my daughter like she was just a person. I've never sort of I've never treated her sort of that, anti-authoritarian friendship thing. Like I am her mum, but I've always explained everything to her because I believe it doesn't matter how small children are. If you just say no, they will want to do it more. But if you say no because that will stick, and that will stick long term, and it has. And the most important thing is that you have to tell them every single day that you love them exactly the way they are, no matter what they do, no matter if you get mad at them, if you shout at them sometimes, or if you lose it sometimes. you will still always love them in every single minute of the day, because then you can sometimes lose your rag, because you're human. Everyone is human. And I
Absolutely.
believe you can't be perfect, but if you lose it, you've got to be good at mending. So you got to explain yourself. You got to take responsibility for your actions because you're the adult. But if they have that security that you always love them, then it doesn't matter,
Right. Because
because
you're
they
building
lose their rag,
trust.
you lose their rag,
Yep.
and it's all about tolerating people, being full of love, but not being walked over.
Right.
No, don't let anyone walk
Teaching
over you.
her, you're teaching her a very valuable lesson to be accountable and to be
Yeah,
responsible for her actions.
yeah,
For every action, there's a reaction. And again,
exactly.
I've never heard that term before. You lose your rag. What's your rag? Your rag is
I,
what you wipe up
I,
your shit with. I don't know
I,
what.
I didn't.
What is?
I didn't want to say the S word. I thought
Oh,
that's
oh,
probably
oh. Well, I said it.
inappropriate.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. That's cool. I didn't hear that. I love different countries' slang and terminology. The Australians wear me out. I need to have to write those down sometime. They're funny, but that is good. So, what's on your life list? What is something that you want to accomplish or you have yet to accomplish?
Well, I do have a derelict, not so much derelict anymore, but I bought 100-year-old farm about 7 years ago. And I thought, I'll renovate this. How hard can it be? Well, you find out it's very hard. You find out that it's a bottomless money pit. But I do want to create I have quite a bit of land, and it's beautiful, and it's a really old building, and have done a lot by myself. Like, I've done the walls, I've done the insides. I couldn't do the electric, but I've done, basically with help from professionals, I've done a lot of it myself. And I've got a beautiful garden where I grow my vegetables. And I like this sort of, that self-sufficient thing, because kids need to also know where vegetables come from, where food comes from, and
Absolutely.
it doesn't grow in a can, and that it's hard work to grow food. But, if it goes wrong in the future, then, you got somewhere to go. You got somewhere where you can grow food, where you can retreat to. And I've got a beautiful barn that I would like to transform into like a wellness therapy center, where I can not just work online, but where I can have a beautiful space. I can have a couple of rooms where I can get people to, stay for the weekend, stay for a week. I've got so much to give. I do a bit of Reiki, I do a bit of, the havening, I do the mental training. I just want to sort of do weekends or retreats for people to show them, not just to sleep better, but help them with loads of different problems, mental health, physical problems, and just get people out into nature. Go and walk in the woods. It's surrounded by woods and little streams. And I want to get people there, and I want to make this work for me so I can live there. I can grow my food. I can have people come there, and I can help them. I can show them to lead a better life, get back in touch with the earth,
Right.
not just with your phone and your screen in front of your face, where it's just, yeah, I don't even want to get on public transport, because all you can see is this.
Right.
No one is talking anymore. Everyone is just in front of screens, and it frightens me, you know. It's
Well, you
I
know what?
just
The new word a lot of people talk about is mindset, and it's not mindset anymore. It's about consciousness.
Yeah.
That's about being awakened and being aware to the present.
Mm,
Mindset sometimes can get you stuck because
yeah.
you're so fixated on a particular thing or getting information on that or processing the data or sharing that information that you forget about what you're learning in the here and now.
Mm.
We have learned so much from you today. I appreciate you and I value you. Brains, I need you to check in with Martina. in Austria. Okay, I need you to love, like, share, and subscribe. Tell my brains how to get in contact with you via, email or your website, or follow you on social media.
I mainly contact people, or people contact me via social media. So I've got Martina Thalhammer, the sleep expert. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and on all the sites there is Calendly booking links. So people can either book straight a call with me, which is totally free. I can have a chat with them about any of their problems that they want help with, or just generally a chat about what I do. People can direct message me, email me. I hope it's okay if we can put the link underneath.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I would be really happy if people have got any questions to answer them, and or if people want to see what I do for them or can do for them, that would be really great.
Brains, we're looking for alternatives. We're looking at going back centuries.
Yes,
We're looking at, you know, I'm sure that there were people that couldn't sleep in ancient Egypt times, after those
exactly.
wild parties with the pharaohs and all the food and drink. Yes, I'm sure they
There's
had
nothing
problems
wrong
sleeping.
with that. If you got the control in here, you
Right.
can do all these things. If you're in control of your mind, body, and your soul, and you know why you have a problem, you can fix it. I always tell people, I can't fix your problem because you know best how to fix you. And if you fixed it, you can do whatever you want. You can drink coffee at midnight if you want to, because you know you can go to sleep like that. Because it's easy when you align and you get that control back. And
Mm.
it is possible.
Well, it's possible. Anything is possible if you put your mind to it. Thank you so
Correct.
much, Martina. You are the absolute
Thank you so much for having me.
brains. Go in, follow her, like, love, share, reach out, have a Zoom call, introduction. You don't know what you don't know. Are you tired of popping the pills? Are you tired of not sleeping, waking up angry, the additional weight loss, going and losing your rag? But I love that. So
Oh,
again, take that rag to wipe up the mess and get yourself together. Thank you so much, Martina, and
you're welcome.
come back and visit me again. All right.
Thank you.
All right. Bye, brains.